nightmares in my head.
So, today I'm going to be doing a bumper cut, but not on this bumper, on that bumper. I did get this bumper for free, so that's why the condition's not the best, as you can see with all the damage on the corner, and there's a really large fog light cutout. Other than that, it's not bad. Body wise it seems good. There's a bit of something that you might want to see. It's got a bit of burny from an exhaust leak by the looks of it, and that light is a bit melted. It should something like that on the back. So there's two ways to get the rear bumper off. One of the ways that you can remove it is there's these plastic screw things that run all the way along the top of the bumper, like just up along here like that, and then take it off like that. But those plastic screws are really annoying to take out, and that means I have to take off this panel, which will break. So instead of that, I'm going to take off the whole unit, and then I'm going to take it and properly separate it after. So I'm going to take off this and the bash bar in one piece. So to take it off, I'm going to have to jack up the car. As you can see, the jack's already there. Jack up the car. There's 4 bolts underneath, and I need to take off some screws, it says on the inside, on either side. And then the entire bumper should be free from that. And so we have to remove this panel, not the mud flap, but behind the mud flap there's this other panel. It's got 3 bolts in it, one at the top, one in the middle, and one at the bottom. I took the same panel off on the other side so far, and all of this mud just fell out. We do need to take this screw off though. Then, on the back of the car, you know where the tow hook is, so we need to remove this nut here, this nut here, this nut up here, and that 4th nut. And if we go along to the other side, it's going to be the same thing on the other tow hook. We also need to sort out what we're going to do with the fog light, so I'm going to be unplugging that on the ends of these wires for the moment. So after removing those last 8 bolts that are holding on the bumper, you can pull the whole thing off in one go, and it should just slide off. And then to separate the bash bar from the bumper, there's these plastic screw things along the top and the bottom, which you need to take off, and they are a nightmare. So good luck. So this template here is from Both Racing, and they have a large one and a small one. This is a small one. The large one would cut up much higher. I think it goes up to about here, like just above the crease of the bumper. But the small one here is what I'm going to be using. You can actually get these on their website, or I'm going to put a link down below to the PDF for where both of these two can be found. So you just need to print out the cutout and cut out to shape on the cardboard, and then just sort of mount it up on each side like that, and you're going to do the same with this side, mount it like that. So I'm going to be using this as the template to cut out on this side. On that other side I have basically just turned it around like that, marked out where the template comes up to on this side with a black dot, and I need to just measure that gap there, and then I need to recreate it on this side, line up that template over here, and then mark out. And as you see, I've marked all the way along the edge and around the new hole that I'm going to make. So from the line from where you can see where I'm going to be cutting down here, is going to be measured from this line up here down to the exhaust hole, and then I'm going to be cut all the way along that. This height here specifically is 15.5 centimeters. So I've got that, and then I use the tape measure as you saw along the gap, which lines up perfectly with my new marked out hole as well. Now I need to join up all these dashes that I made into a one consistent long line all the way across. So I've marked up where I'm going to be cutting from with this masking tape I've just used. I've put some tape in a way that it just sort of fills the corner, makes it a bit easy to follow, and then it's a straight line all the way along the top, and then I just need to terminate the cut just here where it just about ends at the highest point of the exhaust cutout. From what I've seen, you can also use hacksaws, Dremels. I've seen some people do it with an angle grinder, but I'm going to be using a Dremel for this one.
Anxiety, filling up every space, no privacy. And silently, it could build and build until you finally see, whoa, it's taking over, damn no closure, moving closer. No exposure, I just wanna be a loner.
So I've hung the bumper up now, as you normally do, but from about here it looks good. It's only when you get closer there's some issues. One issue that I've spotted is if I look here, you can see that the cut goes slightly higher than it should when it's going around the corner. So I need to somehow sort of pull that back down. And there's just a lot of mess along the rest of the line. And on this side you can see it's just sort of okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sand down and file everything. So I'm going to file up all these parts where there's the sprue bits along here.
Looking over all their shoulders, like moving boulders just to get out of the home. It's so
and the edges look much better now after some sanding and adjusting all the way along.
So what I need to do is sand this whole thing down,
Fix up all the damages
on the bumper.
I've had enough. I don't wanna feel the stuck under the rug. All my problems that I shut.
So as you see, I've been sanding, and then I come around the corner, I've been sanding continuously. I went to this, what I thought was a paint mark. It's actually just a really deep cut, like I can catch my finger in there. And if I can get the camera to focus on it, you can see the plastic underneath. So that means I have to actually use body filler and fill this dent out, really a deep scratch. This one up here is also quite deep. So I need to fix three different like those things with some body filler. So I'm going to make the body filler. So we've got this P38 one that I just have lying in the shed. I don't know anything if it's any good or anything. Someone mixed hardener in here or something. It's like really sticky. Also, this is my first time using Bondo or body filler really. So don't judge me if I do it terribly. I don't know what I'm doing. Like a little blob. That much should do. Mix, mix, mix. And I'm just going to scrape that all in there. Very badly. I'm going to put this other part in this crack. So I just lost the footage, I just checked, of me just doing this Bondo because the cut was too deep. That's what I've done over there. It's not the best job, but it should do.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
So the bumper's been all degreased now using some isopropyl alcohol. So there's no grease or fingerprint oils left on here. So as you see, I've sanded down all of the filler and just fill up that crack that you can see in the bumper. There are parts like here, as you can see, there's like this weird spider webbing sort of crack. I did start sanding this down, and I did start realizing this actually continues into the plastic itself, so I can't really fix it.
and this is the paint that I'm going to be using. The reason why I've just chose to use red primer is because I don't know if I have enough normal paint for red, because I've got SU color code red and I don't think I have enough of it, but it's not going to make much of a difference. My car's about 3 different colors of red already.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
The paint seems to have a bit of the paint seems to have a bit of a texture to it for some reason. Not even the paint, the primer. So I'm going to have to give it a bit of a wet sand before I paint over it, because otherwise this texture is going to come through.
I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough. Nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough.
So I've sanded it all down now. As you can see, it does look a bit better. It looks a bit more rough though now, so it looks more like very, very faded sort of red. It sort of looks like an MX5 that's been parked out in the sun for about 10 years straight.
You fucking what, mate?
The paint that I'm going to be using is this. It's just some made paint for a SU coloured MX5. So I just realised the camera was not filming for the first coat, which is very annoying. But the colour match is quite close. It's actually better than I expected of a colour match, but I've got to do a few more coats to see properly.
I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me. But let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. I've been feeling weird, I can't see.
So I've given this another coat because there was a bit of a problem. You can see how the reflections are here, they're okay. If I go down to the bottom, they do that. So the original painting on the MX5s never came up with lacquer. But what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to lacquer this just so it doesn't wash away because it's spray paint. So as you can see, I have painted the bumper with lacquer now as well, which is why it has a very nice sheen. I did paint it overnight and leave it. Usually I would paint a second layer, but because the rest of the car doesn't actually have lacquer on it, I think one layer should be okay to make it not stick out too much. So now I need to measure out where I'm going to cut the bash bar and everything. I assume it's going to be somewhere just along this line here, but I need to line it up with the bumper and see, and then just cut along that. So I was able to get it to rest on 2 car jacks, as you can see. From what I can tell now, it just needs the bottom part just above the fog light to be cut off. And if I come around to this side, to check if it's all lined up, just have a look for these little holes. If they're all lined up, every single one of them is, we know that it's all lined up. So that's when you can start marking up everything. One good thing is I don't need to cut the metal brackets underneath, because with a higher bumper cut you need to. So I marked out that bottom line, as you can see, but then I added this top line just to make it easier, so I'm going to cut that one.
Can't seem to focus good enough, nothing's really clear. Sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me. But let's be really real, anxiety can foggy all this stuff. It sucks when you finally feel like giving up. Oh God, no luck. Everything feels like you're sticky stuck. I'm lost, handcuffed to the bed where I sleep. Don't give a fuck, can't stop.
So cut the bumper support into 2 parts. As you can see, it took a long time, much longer than I thought, because of how thick the plastic is, and the Dremel kept getting too hot. The bottom part of the supports, I had to cut those off where they mount onto it. So if I go to this panel here, that little triangle piece. So this needs to now be connected to the new bumper, and so then you can put it on the car.
Feeling overwhelmed, I think I've had enough. Gotta find a way to get some energy. Gotta find someone who's a good friend of me. I need purpose to make it all worth it. I'm still searching and I'm still learning. I want a life that's filled with memories, not a life with regret in front of me. I need focus to keep me from hopeless psychosis if I keep moping. I got nightmares in my head, I fear.
These plastic screws are the only things we need to connect the bumper to the bumper support, and then we just need to install this back onto the car.